Welcome to another episode of Behind the Screams, the podcast where we dive deep into the darkest corners of the internet and explore the terrifying stories in media that haunt the outer reaches of the online world. I'm your host, Jalen Godwin, and today we're taking a look at the eerie, unsettling, and downright creepy ways that the internet has shaped modern horror. Now, I know we've all heard of the classic horror movies, creepy TV shows, and urban legends, but in the digital age, horror has found a new medium. It's not just on the big screen or in a book anymore. You can find many examples on YouTube or internet forums of the new age of horror. First up on our list of these new age horrors I've been talking about is the analog horror genre. Analog horror is like those found footage movies that you've probably heard about. For example, the Blair Witch Project. They usually take the form of a VHS, emulating the feel and what a VHS tape would look like. One of the earliest examples of analog horror is Marble Hornets, a series based on the Slender Man mythos. It was posted to YouTube all the way back in 2009. Today, though, we're going to talk about one of my favorite series, and one that has gained a lot of traction in recent years, the Mandela Catalog. Have you ever seen a doppelganger? Someone who looked eerily similar to you or someone you know? Imagine if these lookalikes were actually something sinister. In a nutshell, this is the story behind the Mandela Catalog. The full story dives into themes of religion and the fear of not knowing if you could ever trust your neighbor. The doppelgangers in the story are actually called alternates. These alternates take the form of someone else, like shapeshifters, though there's always something unnerving about them, something that doesn't look quite right. These alternates invade Mandela County, where a story takes place, and are slowly making their way into the roots of the county. They invade citizens' homes, imitating parents and friends. The series is still in continuation. If you'd like to watch the series and stay updated with new episodes, check out Alex Keiser's page on YouTube or search for the Mandela Catalog. I definitely recommend it if you're into psychological horror or found footage horror. Another analog horror / found footage series that I really like is The Backrooms by Kane Pixels on YouTube. It's a video series that plays on the fear of isolation and liminal spaces, exploring a surreal and unsettling alternate reality known as the Backrooms. The series begins with the concept that if someone glitches out or clips out of reality, they might end up in this endless maze of yellow, dimly lit rooms with outdated carpeting, fluorescent lights, and a pervasive sense of isolation. The backrooms are depicted as a labyrinth of monotonous, liminal spaces that seem to stretch on forever, with no clear exit. Over time, the series introduces various entities and dangers lurking within the backrooms, heightening the sense of dread. The idea of the backrooms has grown over the years, with many people contributing their own ideas for monsters and different levels that you can travel to within the backrooms. It's gotten really popular in recent years, but not many people know the story behind it. The series that gained the most popularity was not actually the original. The idea of the backrooms has been around for years. The original post actually originates from an old 4chan thread, showcasing just a blank image of yellow wallpaper in an empty room. The whole idea has really gained its own community. Speaking of found footage, next we'll talk about something a bit more mysterious. They're called ARGs, or alternate reality games. These aren't just stories or videos you watch till the end. These are actually interactive. ARGs rely on engagement from the community. These videos will require puzzle solving and decoding to discover the story behind them, or to find the next video. Communities will band together on different forums or social media to figure out the ARG, sharing ideas and theories. You can actually find many of these on TikTok. With the short form videos and how easily a video can spread and gain traction, it's actually a great platform to start an ARG. One popular ARG that I've checked out is The Sun Vanished. This ARG took place on Twitter, updates of the story coming through their tweets. In the story, the protagonist, the one who's been posting the tweets, wakes up one day and the sun is gone. After the sun vanishes, the world turns apocalyptic. There are monsters which now roam the streets, some indifferent to our protagonist, while others are hostile, making the world a dangerous place to live. If you'd like to check out The Sun Vanished, you can find the original post on The Sun Vanished on Twitter. Another ARG that I found that I really like is Welcome Home. This ARG is actually ongoing, the story being told through updates on the website, www.welcomehomerestorationproject.net. In this ARG, there is actually an in-story group updating the website. In the world of Welcome Home, this group wants to restore old episodes and content from the old TV show, Welcome Home. There's an entire story behind the show and in the website. The cast of characters kind of reminds me of something like The Muppets or Sesame Street. Our main character is Wally Darling. I guess he'd be the Elmo or Kermit of the show. At first glance, the website looks innocent enough. They've got old animations and drawings from the show. But if you were to take a closer look, you notice that there are certain things that are just off. Some letters or drawings seem out of place, and when you click on them, they actually lead you to other links, helping you solve the puzzles on the website. There are eyes watching you throughout the entire website, whether it's a drawing of a character or some small doodle in the background. Doodle and doodle and doodle-a-dee. If you watch some of the videos that are taken from Wally's perspective, it just feels vacant and eerie. Everything about the website just feels off. Like there's something lurking in the darkness. Something watching and controlling from the shadows. If any of this seems interesting to you, check out that website I mentioned earlier. Again, that is www.welcomehomerestorationproject.net. On the topic of interactive horror, let's talk about horror games. Specifically, indie horror games. I want to focus on two games that I feel like walk the line between ARG and video games. The first example is Petscop. This game was originally just a video series on YouTube of someone playing a game, as if it was a real game that they had found. Recently, though, someone has made a fan remake of the game where you can actually play it. The series follows our protagonist, Paul, as he records his playthrough of an old PlayStation horror game that he found, titled Petscop. As he progresses through the game, solving different puzzles, he collects pets. Paul travels through different areas and uncovers different secrets hidden within the game, revealing the story behind it all. It becomes clear that Petscop was created for a certain person who has done something horrible. He collects pets. Paul travels through different areas and uncovers different secrets hidden within the game, revealing the story behind it all. It becomes clear that Petscop was created for a certain person who has done something horrible. To give that person a message and tell the story for anyone else who happens upon the game. Well, sadly, it seems like that was all the time we had for this episode. Thanks for tuning in to Behind the Screen. I hope you enjoyed all three topics that I mentioned in this episode. If you did, make sure you leave a like and a comment, and maybe we can do this again next week. I'd like to talk about any more series that I didn't mention in this episode, and any recommendations that you have for me to check out. Thank you all, and I'll see you next week. Bye!